Hello everyone and welcome back to Packs and Recreation, and we are back to Cowboys, and I changed the playmat because the other one was freaking awful. If you don't remember, just go watch the first collector booster box video about that, because don't buy foil playmats. That's kind of the moral of the story. But once again, maybe for the last time, who knows, we are going to crack a collector booster box for Outlaws at Thunder Junction with Fubaputh in the background, because why not? Like, Fubaputh wasn't at Ravnica, which is where, but he's here, and he's like, I get it. It's like, well, because of the Omen pads, now everyone can be anywhere. Don't be like that. And he's like, yes, but still, Carlo Manor just hurts to a degree. Like, that's not the Ravnica. Give me back my Ravnica. But let's see the Cowboys. So the Cowboys set, which technically is not, and I will never say this enough, technically is the villain set. Has a lot of good cards, but a lot of them are not even in the Thunder Junction set, but they come in the Thunder Junction boosters because they are the big score and the breaking news. So big score, for example, Generous Plunderer for 1/1 red menace. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may create a treasure token. When you do, target opponent creates a tapped treasure token. Whenever Generous Plunderer attacks, it deals damage to the defending player equal to the number of artifacts they control. Void Slime. This goes here, this goes here. Leeline Dowser. Oh, Jace Reawakened in foil. Not bad. Not great, not bad. Legendary Planeswalker, Jace. It only costs 2, but it has a restriction. You can't cast the spell during your first, second, or third turns of the game. Draw a card, then discard a card. You may exile a non-land card with mana value 3 or less from your hand. If you do, it becomes plotted. And -6 until the end of turn. Whenever you cast a spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy, which is actually very good. Decisive Denial, Ride Down, and a Forest. Now, it's fun because by the time you see this video, likely we are going to be already into the craziness of Modern Horizons. And how the pricing here, and the reason why I do this late, is so that you can see how the prices evolved during that time. It's good that this was the last set before the pause, because technically, Magic only has Terror of the Pigs in foil. Let's go. Flying spells your opponent's cast that target Terror of the Pigs cost an additional 3 life to cast. So ward 3 life? Like like, what? So someone that knows a lot more about Magic than me is going to be like, well, actually no, because ward something and this means something else. So whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Pigs deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. Imp's Mischief, change the target of target spell with a single target. You lose life equal to that spell's mana value. Felix 5 Boots, which doesn't make sense as a concept, so that's why people say this is the meme set. Calamity, Galloping Inferno, which is the horse, by the way. So if you mount it, you burn, apparently. Stringerback Terror. So a lot of terrors tonight. Stringerback Terror, -1/-1 for each card in your hand. Okay. Blood 2. Okay, not bad. Heartless Pillage. Skewer the Critics, which this is from Rodnick. A foil land, and because it's fun, right? You have 2 sets at the beginning of the year, which is the story, and then you have the summer pause, and then you have the last 2 sets at the end of the year. So, and that's how the story of Magic goes, and that's how the sets are done, etc. But in the summer, now they do these. Let's put a master set in the summer. So people have a choice then, a villainous choice. they either go on vacations or they buy those products, because those products normally are ultra expensive, like Commander Masters, Modern Masters, etc. Right? And they also stop the story in their tracks. Smuggler's Surprise. Okay, with a spring. Cool. Feel the Mighty. And people, well, are left with the choice of, do we care about this, do we don't? But normally you need to care. World Waker Helm. For 2 and 1 blue, if you will create 1 or more artifact tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional map token. So if you really like maps, create a token that's a copy of target artifact token you control, which is not bad. So the second effect, the maps are kind of whatever. Tai Joaquin, Perfect Shot. Don't you love it when this happens? So the whole idea here is, you have a pause in between. You play that stuff. So by the time we are doing this, and people are already talking about Modern Horizons, and it's fun because I wonder, a lot of the most valuable cards here, even though we don't care about value in this channel, but it is what it is, are reprints. And Modern Horizons 3 is Power Creep, the movie, the game. So I wonder how things are going to hold up. Maybe some combinations will come up. Wizards does do a thing, a foil Marquesa, which is they, from time to time, introduce some stuff, and then later they introduce the actual powerful cards that do synergistic stuff with the old ones. Rest in Peace. For 1 and 1 white, when Rest in Peace enters the graveyard, exile all graveyards. If a card or token will be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So Graveyard Hate, that's great against black decks and all this stuff. So you already see some seeds of that. For example, not here, because the commander decks here are not necessarily synergistic, but in Murders at Candle of Manor, one of the decks and a lot of mechanics were about energy counters. And actually, no, sorry. And the Fallout decks were about energy counters. And you have some other cards in Thunder Junction and in Murders that are synergistic with counters, like multiply counters if you have a counter of this type, etc., etc., etc. So one of the commander decks that comes with Modern Masters is all about energy counters. Crime and Punishment. Great. So they do that, right? Like the cards are going to be good, but the cards that came before are what actually make it freaking crazy. So that's what people need to look for. And I wonder how many of these cards may change price because of, or value or perception because of the new ones. Maybe not a lot, because a lot of the most expensive cards in this set are just reprints, or this set, or this expansion, or that come in these boosters, are just expansions. Are just reprints, sorry, and or new cards that are like very powerful on their own. So, and that's something else, right? Normally, most of the time, cards that are expensive in Magic the Gathering are so because they are good on their own, like at least the most expensive ones, so they can fit in any deck. If a card, nice, Crime and Punishment, but in foil. So the art comes out. Well, that's a very nice looking card. Like, yeehaw! Like, what is the other? Like, this is the normal one. And I remember in a previous video I said, like, well, the two drawings are by the same artist. Like, did he get paid twice? Because, it's two different arts. So, but here they kind of pop it out, which is kind of nice. And because of the foil, it looks crazy. It looks crazy in more than one way. I don't know if I like it. I mean, I like it, but I don't know if I would, I don't know. At least it wakes emotions in me. Dream Thief Bandana, another round. Satoru the Infiltrator. Menace. Apparently there is no ninjutsu anymore, because if you're a cowboy, you can have ninjutsu. To be fair, the card will be just sitting there and not very playable because Kamigawa is going out of rotation. So Terminal Agony, a Swamp, Alloy Alchemist, so Prairie Dog, Festering Gulch, Discerning Peddler, Bristleback Sentry, and Stop Cold. We're halfway there. Mercenary Meteorite is fun because I've been cracking a lot of these boxes, and there are some tokens that just don't appear for some cosmic reason, but most of them are just a mercenary on the back, which I think is fun. Now, talking about mercenaries, Archmage Newt. This thing is good. Talking about mercenaries, and there is this sub-mechanic. That is one of the best examples of why Magic is a complete system of fortune. There you go. Pillage the Bog, which is the whole Outlaws denomination. So they created a class, like just as this was a computer program. They created a class which is Outlaws, and Outlaws is is what it was: mercenaries, pirates, warlocks, and I can't remember. Likely we will pull a card that will say like, oh, everything that is. It's like the whole legendary thing. Oh, there you go. Here you have it. So, assassins, mercenaries, pirates, rogues, and warlocks are outlaws. So they created that, and immediately they do a bunch of synergistic things. Like one of the commander decks from the precons, which you can see the review. I know where YouTube puts the links. They change it so often, but the thing is here. So from one of the precons, you had the Olivia deck, and the Olivia was all about outlaws, and the whole thing was Mindslaver. Mindslaver. I will say Mindslayer for some reason. And Dust Bowl. Combo. Heartless Conscription. Nice. I even lost my train of thought with Mindslaver, which I guess is appropriate. Great Train Heist. Tornado, one of the best names for a card ever. Journey to Nowhere. I guess that one of the things that you can do with that deck is a good proof of what you can do. Like they created a bunch of cards that say for every outlaw does this or that, and that commander, you can actually span a little bit on her because she gets stuff for outlaws. And well, in the story of Magic, we have a lot of assassins, mercenaries, warlocks, pirates. So your decks can go cray very fast. The only problem with that deck, as we saw in the review, is that her effects are not that good. Right? So since her effects are not that good, the whole class aggregation of outlaw doesn't necessarily, go boom. Oh, one last job. But at least that's the great thing you can do with Magic. You can just invent a new group and go like, yeah, outlaws are these type of creatures, and now this affects all outlaws, and that allows you for some crazy deck building because it unlocks some possibilities, right? And you can do an outlaw deck. It's a shame though that if the cards that specifically refer to outlaws, like the commander, are not that punchy, then we are actually doing nothing. And I'm afraid that's kind of the thing. I think they were kind of afraid to go full steam ahead with the outlaw mechanic, which is Campbell, Profiteering Mayor, great commander. Why is a great commander? Because the other card is great, but this one is not that bad either. Like whenever one or more tokens enters the battlefield under your opponent's control, for each of them, create a tap token that's a copy of it. This ability triggers only once each turn. Whenever one or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So taxes. Path to Exile. Never bad to have with you. Exile target creature, its controller may search the library for a basic land card and put it into battlefield tab and then shuffle. Elemental Eruption. Dust Animus. Great looking card. Selvala, because why not? Everyone is here, it's like a Smash Bros. Eager Trailblazer. Vigilance, whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 1/1 red mercenary creature token with tap. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 until the end of turn. It as a sorcery. And you can tap her, choose a color, add 1 mana of that color for each different power among creatures you control. So, not bad. That's kind of a problem that Wizards has a lot when they create a staple commander like Selvala, right? I mean, she even appears in all the arts for Commander Masters. So when you have a signature commander that is, too good, and they want to use that card again, make it be it because the name sells or whatever. Normally, it's not that good, and it makes sense because they don't want to make it broken again. Normally, if a commander gets too popular, it means that, well, it was broken already. It's rare that I see cases where a commander is too popular just because it's fun. Normally, the reason why it happens is because it's powerful, and yes, being powerful is fun. But I never, for every 10 powerful commanders, maybe one appears that people are like, haha, I like playing with this one because it makes me feel funny, right? Magda the Horde Master. And, Grindstone. Not bad. Charred Grave Robber. Nice art. Hellspore Hellspore Posse Boss. Because it said Posse, I guess. Posse? It's not... yeah, so that. Back for more. The City of Denial. Planes. Make your own luck. So, normally when you see reprints of commanders, like for example, in Call of Manor, you have Aurelia again. And everyone's like, oh, Aurelia. And it's like, yeah, it's not that good as the other Aurelia. And even for some types of creature, they designed things so good that they broke it. And I don't know who was responsible for designing the commanders with eminence, but that person is a villain and should be in Thunder Junction because Siphon Inside, because objectively speaking, if you have vampires, why wouldn't you play with Edgar Markov? If you have dragons, why wouldn't you play with the Or Dragon? And yada yada, right? Like, they are objectively the best commanders for their type. And a lot of it is because of eminence. Like, you don't even need to play them. Oh, Mori Vessel, nice. You don't even need to play them for them to do their stuff. And if you don't need to play them, well, they're just pretty cheap. You just call them as an afterthought. Or when you have mana to spend, because their active ability, like when they are on the battlefield, is okay, but it's not super crazy compared to the actual abilities. So, whoever invented Eminence should be in a Thunder Junction jail. Because, yeah. So, collector booster box, so best looking card for each color. Let's see. Dust Animus, I think, is just gorgeous. Well, this thing is amazing. Holy cow. But Dust Animus, being white art or full art, I think it gets the prize. This is nice, just kind of boring. This is funny. So we're going with funny. And Jace. I forgot we pulled Jace. So. But it's going to be Archmage Newt. Charted Grave Robber is very nice. Oh, the greening here pops like crazy. Look at that. You can even watch. The camera shows it, so I guess it's the same for everyone. It's crazy. This is amazing. Sometimes I wonder, as a Magic the Gathering artist, for example, this is a rare for a commander deck, right? So there you go. But sometimes, I don't know. Imagine that you draw. For example, this is a great looking card right here by Edgar Sanchez Hidalgo. So great card, and it's just a common, right? So do they tell artists the rarity of their card before they draw it? I don't think so. Or maybe they do, because, I mean, maybe it's just me, but there is an expectation, right? That the rare and mythics, well, look at this. This looks amazing. I like this one most, but this one is the thing. So, like, there is an expectation that when you pull a mythic or a rare, it has to be more powerful. It's not always the case, but the art needs to be also crazier, right? Because it's like, whoa, it's a difficult card. So you get that dopamine of being like, yeah, man, it's more powerful, it's prettier, and I don't know, it sends me kisses at night. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Now, that's the question I have is, do they tell artists like, oh, it's a common, so don't go overboard, you know? Or they don't tell them, but then the art director or something is just like, you need to make it less epic because this thing is too epic. And for example, I don't like the arm on this one. It's like a weird position for the arm. It just keeps bothering me. Every time I see the card, I just go like, that's a weird position. If you want to read this one, I'm sorry about the rest. I don't even care that much. Like Marquesa is there and we all love her. And even Rakdos joins up. But like this thing is a metal poster. Like this thing is amazing. Like it's even a card that is like, I would love to have the artist sign it, and I will be like, okay, can you please just sign on top of the text and like don't go overboard, because the art is just, the whole thing is just so that, you know, I'm going to choose Manslaver again. Why not? Let's pick Dust Bowl just for the sake of it. And that's it. So let me know down below what you think about the pools and Philopus on the back, and what you think about how sets die, like how people just forget about them the second the new thing comes around, and, you know, the whole ordeal. Let me know down below what you think about the pools, what you think about the art in here, and what you think about the artist's dilemma of doing a great card so that it becomes a common. And not that we have anything against commons, I play Pauper, but, you know, it's always like, oh, it's a common, and people don't care about it. It's like when artists draw lands and people are just like, oh, okay, it's a land, and no one cares, and that thing has a lot of effort into it. So, I don't know. Let me know down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all those things that the cool kids do, and I will see you next time on PAX and Recreation.